This is the audio test of these three phones, Pixel 6a, 7a, and 8a. Pixel 6a has dual camera system with a 12 megapixel main sensor. And we have an upgrade of 64 megapixel sensor on Pixel 7a, and it was retained on Pixel 8a. So I think that's it for the quick audio test. Now let's check some portrait shots. Let's start with the widest field of view, and you would notice that Pixel 6a and 7a are overexposed, while 8a has contrast and colors to it. Pixel 6a misses on the edge detection, and you will notice that it was overexposed compared to the competition. 7a is somewhere in the middle, and the latest Pixel 8a has natural looking tone and has great contrast. On the 2x, you would notice that there's artifacts on the images on Pixel 6a, also a little bit blown out. Pixel 7a has a weird green shifting, and Pixel 8a has the best portrait of the bunch. The faces on Pixel 6a and 7a has a lot of noise, but Pixel 8a cleans it up really well. We got 4.7x on Pixel 6a, 4x on Pixel 7a, and 3x on Pixel 8a. Mind you, all these zooms are digital crop from the main sensor. Again, cleaner on Pixel 8a, and there's a lot of artifacts and noise on 6a and 7a. The selfie portraits are really good on all three phones. They look identical, just a little bit warmer and brighter on Pixel 6a, but overall on good lighting condition, you could go either way on all three phones. We are starting this video test using the selfie camera in 4K 30 FPS on Pixel 7a and 8a, and only Full HD on Pixel 6a. You would also notice that the field of view is a little bit cropped in on 6a. This is 24mm as opposed to 20mm ultra wide on 7a and Pixel 8a. Now we're starting the rear camera test of all three phones, starting with the ultra-wide lens in 4K 30 FPS. All phones can shoot 4K 30 FPS on the rear camera. So Pixel 6a has 8 megapixel sensor, while you have 13 megapixel sensor on 7a and 8a. They have the same sensors. Also, I think in terms of field of view, 7a and 8a is wider. Now we're switching to the main sensor, again 4K 30 FPS. So Pixel 6a has 12.2 megapixel sensor, where we have 64 megapixel on 7a and 8a. But in terms of video quality, which phone do you think is better? Quickly checking the crop. We don't have optical zoom on all these three phones, but we have digital crop. Pixel 6a is actually cropping in on an inferior 12 megapixel sensor, while you have better resolution on 7a and 8a at 64 megapixel. We still have half of that resolution roughly on 2x. So in terms of video quality from the selfie, ultra-wide main sensor, and even the digital crop, which phone is the best? If you look on the image quality, Pixel 6a and 8a have the same colors. Pixel 7a is a little bit muted. Outdoors, we almost have the same look. You will just see that the sky is just a little bit toned down on the new Pixel 8a. Also, we have better background blur on the newest Pixel 8a. Again, I feel like the colors on 6a and 7a are closer. You get a brighter image on 7a, but indoors with good lighting condition, you would hardly know the difference which phone is which. Throw off the rules like our shoes on the golden ground. And sway. And honestly, if you like good image quality on a cheap phone, I would go with Pixel phones, the A series. Either of these three phones will give you really good image quality. Colors are vibrant and there's a lot of details to it. Can you feel my love? All three phones can shoot on the ultra wide and the main sensor. We also have the lossless 2x crop. On slow motion, the only difference is the white balance warmer on Pixel 8a, but all phones can shoot on Full HD slow motion. This is the video stabilization test, starting with the selfie camera. 4K 30 FPS on 7a and 8a, and Full HD on 6a. Look at the color of the sky. Now we're running and changing the phones. Now let's switch to the rear cameras. This is the video stabilization test using the rear cameras in 4K 30 FPS, starting with the ultra wide lens. So 0.6 on 6A and 0.5 on both 7A and 8A. I like the color of the sky on Pixel 8A. A little bit warmer too in terms of white balance. Looking at the exposure here. So let's check the video stabilization. Now we're switching to the main sensor. So again, looking at the white balance, warmer on Pixel 8A. Looking at the sky, let's check the flaring really quick. Stepping back a bit. And also checking the exposure. Alright, let's check the video stabilization. We also have 2x crop. 2x, 2x, and 2x. We have a 64 megapixel sensor on 7A and 8A, and only 12.2 on 6A. So you would see difference in sharpness and details. Now let's check the video stabilization. And going to the farthest zoom, 5x on 6A, 5x on 7A, and 5x on 8A. Again, switching back to the main sensor. Which phone do you think is better?
Late night, feels like I'm all alone.
Honestly, the night shot on these three phones are really good. Looks like flagship phones on a situation where you have enough light, great contrast and white balance. And unlike the new flagship phones like Samsung that crushes the blacks, this is a proper night shot that people loved.
Might sound stupid, but I could listen to you talk for hours on and on about nothing at all. Got me at every word.
On pitch black condition, you got a brighter photo on Pixel 6a again. 7a is somewhere in the middle, and you got great color accuracy on Pixel 8a.
No reason, it's not urgent.
Again, on situation where there's almost no light, all three phones will struggle, unlike the flagship phones that processes image cleaner and brighter.
It's healing, you're my medicine.
There's noise, artifacts, and inconsistent white balance. On all three phones, the ultra-wide and the main sensor can shoot night shot, which is a plus.
Comes alive when you laugh, lights up the other line.
This is the low-light video recording test using the selfie camera, Full HD 30 FPS on Pixel 6a, and 4K 30 FPS on Pixel 7a. Pixel 6a and 7a are a little bit overexposed, while you have better quality on Pixel 8a. Now let's check the main camera. Alright, before we test the main camera, pardon me, we're testing the ultra-wide lens in 4K 30 FPS. So 13 megapixel on both 7a and 8a. And we have 12 megapixel on the older Pixel 6a. In terms of video quality, I would prefer the video coming from Pixel 8a. Now let's switch to the main camera. And we're testing the low-light video recording of the main sensor in 4K 30 FPS. So 12.2 megapixel on Pixel 6a. And 64 megapixel on Pixel 7a and Pixel 8a. There's more details and less noise on the newest Pixel 8a. We have 4K 60 FPS on Pixel 6a. Same with Pixel 7a, this is 4K 60 FPS. And lastly, the latest A series, Pixel 8a, also has 4K 60 FPS. No 8K video recording on this A series. So I think that's it for our camera comparison video between 6A, 7A, and 8A. Are you switching to the latest 8A? Again, thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.